Welcome to my channel, where scary road trip stories are shared. This happened many years ago, when I was on a trip with 4 of my best friends. We were all riding our motorcycles, 5 guys in total, and we had been riding for 2 weeks straight from Minnesota to South Dakota. It was during that trip, we decided to take a ride up to Sturgis. Now, for those of you who don't know, Sturgis is a small town in South Dakota that hosts an annual motorcycle rally. The rally is held every year in early August and typically lasts for 10 days. It's one of the largest motorcycle events in the world, with hundreds of thousands of bikers from all over the world attending the rally. We got there late at night, about 2 or 3 a.m., and most things were closed, but we found a bar that was still open, and we spent the night drinking and talking about bikes. We left the next morning around noon and headed back towards Minnesota. The ride back was uneventful, and we arrived home safely. The following weekend, 3 of my friends and I decided to do it again. We headed out Friday night about 11 p.m. and rode through the night. We made it to Sturgis about 3 a.m. and once again hit the bars. We drank and talked about bikes until about 9 or 10 a.m. when the bar opened. On this trip, we met a guy in the bar who told us he had a friend who lived just outside of town and invited us to go riding with him. My friends and I looked at each other and said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So we got his name and number and we headed out to find him. After about an hour of looking, we finally found his house and knocked on the door. A big burly biker opened the door and invited us in. He apologized that his friend wasn't there, but he was at a bike shop in town and asked if we wanted to go to the shop. We said, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So we all got in his truck and headed into town. When we got to the bike shop, it was closed, but he knew the guy who owned it and said he'd be right back. We waited about 15 minutes, and then he came out of the shop with a big smile on his face. He introduced himself as Donnie and invited us to go riding with him. We got on our bikes and headed out of town. Now, the 5 of us were riding down a 2-lane blacktop road that had very little traffic. We were probably doing about 80 miles per hour when suddenly Donnie slammed on his brakes and came to a screeching halt on the side of the road. He turned around and yelled at us to get off the road and follow him. We got off the road and followed him for about 20 minutes until we got to a dirt road. We stopped and he said, "Follow me," so we did. About 5 minutes into the dirt road, we came to a clearing and stopped. Donnie turned around and said, "I want to show you guys something." He pointed to a large mound of dirt in the middle of the clearing and said, "That's what I wanted to show you." My friends and I looked at each other and said, "What the hell? Why did he bring us out here?" My buddy said, "Let's go check it out." So we all walked over to the pile of dirt. As we got closer, we could hear a noise coming from the pile. It sounded like someone or something was breathing heavily. We stopped and listened. The noise stopped. We started to walk again. As we got closer, the noise started again. My friend said, "Let's go check it out." We got within 5 feet of the pile when suddenly the ground started to shake. The pile began to move and a loud roar echoed across the field. My friends and I turned and ran as fast as we could to our bikes. We got on our bikes and turned to look back. That's when we saw it. Standing in the middle of the clearing was a large humanoid figure made of dirt. It was about 7 feet tall and was shaking the ground as it took steps towards us. We turned and ran as fast as we could down the dirt road. We didn't stop until we got back to the main highway. We got on the highway and rode as fast as we could away from that place. We never looked back. We didn't stop until we got home. When we finally stopped and got off our bikes, we could still hear the heavy breathing in our ears. To this day, we don't know what that thing was, But whatever it wasn't human.